3, 4.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Sunday Sesh. My name is Radman, taking you through until 6 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Happy Australia Day, of course, being Australia Day today. And I'll introduce him straight away because he's sitting straight across the desk from me. My guest co-host for today is Jamie Mercanti, better known as Slim Jim.
It's great to be here, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
How are you?
I love a good Sunday sesh.
Yeah, don't we all? Hey, what do I call you? Slim?
Yeah, Slim.
We go
Jamie,
with Slim.
whatever. It doesn't matter.
No,
Slim's
not
probably the
offended
best.
either way. Yeah, you go with Slim.
I've lived with Slim for a long time.
Yes, well, we're going to talk all about that because it has been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Also, our feature, we're just talking about our feature album this week, which is from 1991.
Yeah.
The Baby Animals.
Yeah, fantastic. What a band.
And it's just a cracking album and a great band.
And last year, the Phatts band got invited to be part of a lineup to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the win of the America's Cup. And it was a huge concert put down at Fremantle. And the great thing about it was that Hoodoo Gurus were on the bill, Baby Animals were on the bill, and Voyager.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't seen Voyager before.
Yeah.
And they were exceptional.
Yeah.
Like, they were just unbelievable. They've created this like music genre for themselves, and the way they executed on stage, performance-wise, as well as musically, it's next level.
Yeah.
But then the Baby Animals were next up after, and then the culmination of the concert was with Hoodoo Gurus.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the Gurus just got back from an American tour, and they'd played, I think, about 30 or 40 shows in the US, and they were absolutely cherry ripe and red hot. So when they got to, this was like within about a fortnight of coming back from America, the band was on another level. The best I've ever seen the Gurus play ever, and I've seen them on and off for over the last 30, 40 years.
Hey, James, just hold it there. Sorry. They're starting. We've got to go with it.
Go with it.
The Angels. Take a long line.
How good are those guys?
Awesome. I seen them at the raffles years ago.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, and they were, you might have been there. You didn't
I
say
saw
hello.
them at the old Melbourne as well, and that was just incredible.
Yeah.
Just
awesome.
The energy was just out of this world.
Powderfinger before that, that was from 2020, Day by Day. Actually recorded in 2003, but wasn't good enough for their albums, apparently. I think
probably just didn't fit.
Yeah, possibly. It's an awesome song.
Yeah, it is.
And
absolutely.
off the top there, Cold Chisel. Actually, that's from 78 again.
If that is not the greatest Australian song of all
that's...
time,
I chose carefully of what's going to be first.
I don't think anybody would argue with the fact it's in the top three.
It has to be up there.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, 0485 838 436 is the text line. We got Slim Jim here for the next 2 hours. We've got plenty to chat about too, because I mean your life is sort of like, it'll make a good book, a good movie. Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah, there is a bit, I suppose, but I think everybody's life, what was it Mark Twain said, everybody's life is interesting, everybody's got a story to tell, because, life is one of those things that curveballs come at you, and opportunities come at you, and you sort of look back and retrospectively over many years, and you go, if that and that and that didn't happen, then the dominoes wouldn't have fallen the right way. So, and sometimes you wonder how much you create luck, and how much luck does a great portion of your fortune.
It definitely has some sort of impact, doesn't it? Good and bad. Well, where did it start for you? You were born in Perth?
Yeah, born and bred. My father was an Italian immigrant that arrived here in 52.
Okay.
And he was 17 to 18 years of age on the cusp, and he arrived. And he was immediately sent out to Belmont quarantine for 2 weeks, which was mandatory back then for any visitors to the country. And there was basically shiploads of Europeans being brought to Perth to sort of combat all the deficit of manpower in the rural areas post-war.
Gotcha.
So the agricultural sector in particular was particularly hard done by after the war, with losing so many men, and no one was really willing to go back into the country unless they were sort of knew the land themselves. So he was sent to Narrabeen after that, which is like the middle of nowhere, really.
Is that in New South Wales?
No, Narrabeen is actually about 285, 300 kilometres due east of Perth. So it's
actually a West Australian town.
It's off Great Eastern Highway.
Okay.
You go through Meriden, and I think it's past Meriden. I went there a long time ago. When I went there a long time ago, which was about 25 years ago, there was literally nothing in the town. There's a very small, half a street.
I've heard of the town, although I might be thinking of a different town. Obviously.
I think it was Wheat Sheep area, basically, back in the day.
Okay.
And so Dad's experience where he came from in Italy was, not wheat sheep, but he was also in a very much an agricultural area.
Yep.
And most of the Italians at that time were self-sufficient, so they had their own cow, they had their own goats, they had their own chickens, etc.
Yep.
So he was obviously fairly familiar with the land. So when he came here, going to Narrabeen wasn't much of a stretch for him, but his trade was a bootmaker.
Right.
He was an absolute traditional cobbler.
Right.
Not the prefab stuff. We're talking about as shoes used to be made.
They cobbled with a hammer and
by hand, literally by hand.
Okay.
So when he came here, though, he obviously went to the agricultural sector, and he went there for a couple of years before he got tuberculosis.
Okay.
And then he was obviously impounded for nearly 18 months to 2 years because of the disease itself and also the recovery, because they removed his lung. They removed one of his lungs. But so he was. So with his with my Catholic upbringing due to my father, I ended up, going through the convent system. Right. And so my father used to drop me off to a place called St. Dennis's in Junedana on right across the road from Dog Swamp. Right. And he would go into town and work at Ahern's, because Ahern's was the only people that would employ Roman Catholics.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you're a Roman Catholic, you probably wouldn't get a job at Bones. Right. But Ahern's opened particularly to actually give Roman Catholics a job. Wow. Okay. So my dad went to work there, and he would drop me off on the way, and then I'd make my own way home on a school bus type of thing. But at that convent, they had auditions for the St. Mary's Cathedral Boys Choir, which is the main cathedral here for Roman Catholics. And with that became a sponsorship to go to Trinity College. So all the boys would be together at the same school, so we'd all be able to rehearse together between 8 and 9 in the morning, and then we'd go and start our classes like normal. Right. So it was a great opportunity, and I was fortunate enough to get a role from the convent there from like year 3, and I joined Trinity at year 4, and I stayed there until I was finished year 12, and my school fees were basically sponsored for the majority of my time there, so it gave me a great opportunity. And of course, with that, with the alumni of Trinity, and also the skills I learned how to sing classical music, because I was under the direction of a lady called Annette Girk. Okay. And Annette Girk is one of the most, when it comes to church organists or pipe organs, she's one of the greatest musicians in the world. Wow. She's been recorded by Decca and all the major classical brands. She's recorded in all the cathedrals in France. In fact, she has a residence in France. Okay. So she can go and visit to stay when she goes and does these recording sessions in each cathedral on these 100-year-old organs that have been maintained to the nth degree. So she really is, we're quite lucky to have someone of that sort of ability. She's had a massive career as a teacher, as a mentor, as an adjudicator when it comes to UWA's classical branch. And similarly, there was a lot of great things that were happening with the choir. We were learning some pretty amazing stuff. I learned how to sing in Latin, German, Gregorian chant, Mozart, Benjamin Britten and so forth. So I got that really early fundamental skills. So singing was like breathing to me. Yeah. So we were doing it that often, like every single Sunday, 10 times through Easter for all the different, ceremonies that were going on. So after 10 years of that, it is like breathing. Reading music was like reading, a book. Yeah. It was that simple. Yeah. And of course, when you sort of go to uni I was going to do journalism. You had to find a second unit to go and do as well. You just can't do journalism and nothing else. You have to get like another unit or a course. You've got to complete another course. And I chose theatre arts. Right. But I fell in love with theatre arts because it also encouraged my music. And so when they ever had a musical that was coming up, I'd put my name up because at least I could read the music more so than other people and I actually had a trained voice. Yeah. And so that's basically how I sort of got into the performing arts. Long story cut short. Yeah. And we'll go on to what you're more famous for just after that with Slim Jim forming. When did Slim Jim form? What 1986.
Year? 1986. Yeah. So how old were you at that point?
I was 22.
22. Okay.
So I finished uni in 1984.
Okay.
And I started working as a full-time actor for 2 years, but then the recession hit, and there was no work for actors.
Okay, we'll talk about that
in a second.
Hey, I did say the text line 0485 838 436. Also, I forgot to mention. Maybe I did mention it, but it's all Aussie music today. So if you do have a request, make sure it's Aussie.
Yeah, good.
Anything.
So it should be.
And I'll try and find it.
Very appropriate.
Got one text message through already from Muff. It says Muffa, but I wonder if there's a guy I know called Muff. So maybe it's him. Got some Aussie requests. Red Lights by Vanilla Chainsaws and Down to the Sea by Dubrovniks.
Dubrovniks I know of.
Yeah, I heard Dubrovniks.
Yeah.
And we may have a bit. I don't think we're going to have Vanilla Chainsaws on the system, but I'll find something for you, Muff. See what I can do for you. And as I'm reading, the Glentertainer just sent through. G'day, Radman. G'day, Slim.
Hey, mate.
Happy Australia Day, fellas. Hey, Slim, many a good night at the OBH back in the day. Thanks, gosh. Mate. Yeah, we'll talk about the OBH. You're famous for that.
It's another world of place, I'm just telling you.
Back when Slim Jim wasn't quite as slim as he is now. Hey, Radman, on this special day, playing a great Australian music, I'd like to request a song called Looking Out by King Stingray. King Stingray, Australian rock band from the northeast Arnhem Land in the Northern Territory. The band performs songs with lyrics in both English and Yolnu Mata. Cheers, Radman. No worries, Glentertainer. I will get some King Stingray for you.
I've got to say something about that. There's a lot of really big acts being mentored and nurtured in the northern end of Australia at the moment. There's a lot of them.
Is there? Okay.
And they are exceptional.
Right.
Like some of the things I've heard in the last 6 months have been extraordinary.
Wow, okay.
And so I don't know what's in the water up there at the moment, but whenever it is, it's working. Wow. And people want to come and see it, which is even more important.
Yeah. That's it. It's got to get exposure, doesn't it? And
it does.
That's what we're here for, Australian music for sure. So we'll definitely play Looking Out by King Stingray for you, Glentertainer. Thanks for texting in,
good call.
Mate.
Yeah, very good call.
I got you to choose 3 songs.
Yeah.
As I do my guests, Slim. Courtney Murphy is the first one I'm going to play.
Yep.
A great West Australian.
Unbelievable.
Well, the family, aren't they? They're all unbelievable.
No, they are.
Yeah.
And look, there is a bit of a story with this as well.
This one's called Warning to You.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. So, many years ago when I was working, still in the bands, but I was also working as an agent at a place called Rock Exchange, which was the biggest entertainment agency in Western Australia at that time. They were doing a lot of touring of Australian acts, international acts, and looked after the majority of what was considered to be the biggest pub venues in Western Australia at the time, and with the biggest bands, your Ice Tigers, your Jets and so forth. It was massive. Anyway, so one day a gentleman walked in, and he was obviously not a musician. He said, "Hi, my name's Kim Murphy.
Right.
My 3 sons and their 2 cousins have got a band. We've just come up from Albany, and we're looking forward to getting into the music industry. Will you help us?" And he showed me a few things, and he played a few things for me, and it wasn't like an audition thing, but just the sincerity of him walking in and just explaining what these boys were attempting to do with their careers.
Is that why they came to Perth specifically for?
Well, they'd done as much as they could have done down there, and but he was also he was actually had been retired as a policeman.
Okay.
And he was actually a Vietnam vet. He had 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. So unfortunately his post-traumatic stress took hold of him, and he had to leave. So he basically was coming back to Perth to almost rehabilitate, it's not the right word, but just to repair. And be in a position where he was amongst a better environment, getting to clinics or whatever the case he needed. And the boys obviously came with him. They're just almost finishing school, so they obviously wanted to get into the industry. And so I said, I'll give it a go. And from that point onwards, it became one of the greatest relationships I've ever had with a band, as an agent or as a friend.
Well, what year was it that they first come up?
Oh my gosh, this would have to be
early 2000s.
No, we're talking 90s.
90s, okay.
Oh, seriously, 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to argue 90. No, well, I got married in 99, and they were at my wedding, but by that stage those guys were doing about 10 gigs a week.
Wow. Okay.
Seriously, because at the days where the bog was going late night, so the bog, you could do one show early and then do one show late, and that was happening between 2 different areas like Northbridge and Fremantle. So they had a most amazing career, and then of course that people forget about this, but they actually appeared on Pop Stars and were a finalist on Pop Stars.
As a band, were they?
Yeah.
Because I remember them on Australian Idol a little bit later, but...
Sure, but that was the first one they went to, and they went there as a band.
Right.
And they were representing West. They did extremely well, but they didn't win.
Okay,
and that was on Channel 7.
Yep.
And then a few years later, Courtney applied to Australian Idol, which I think was 2004, and Chris Murphy was on 2006.
Yep.
When Courtney went on Idol, at the same time, Chris went on tour with Kevin Bloody Wilson in Europe.
Okay.
So when he came back and saw how it sort of benefited Courtney for his profile, I think then Chris obviously felt fairly, keen to give it a go in 2006.
Yeah.
But Courtney then records this album, which we're going to play this song from now. And the producer for it was a guy called Blue, who was a songwriter and producer from America. He had quite a few hits back in the noughties, I think it was. And Courtney had sung one of his songs on Idol as part of the competition, and it blew everybody's minds. They'd never heard the song before, and they fell in love with it. Yeah. So he asked Blue to come and produce this album called Big.
Right.
And so he was living next door to me. Because Kieran, the drummer brother, was living next door to me at one stage. Okay. So Blue was actually staying there while Kieran was on holidays, while they were putting the finishing touches on this album. And Courtney said, "Mate, here's a demo. Have a listen." And this is the song.
This is the song. Okay.
And I cried like a baby when I heard this.
And this is it.
Yes, it's unbelievable.
It is a beautiful song. Okay. Courtney Murphy, Warning to You. That was King Stingray.
Awesome sound.
Yeah, great sound.
Kicking.
Out of Arnhem Land. That one's called Looking Out. That one was for the Glentertainer.
Yeah,
there you go, but I hope you enjoyed.
Good call, mate.
That. Yeah.
Well done.
Little Heroes before that, One Hit Wonder with a great song.
I know, but what a great song.
Isn't it?
Every time you get that opening phrase, one perfect day, bang. Transports you straight away.
It does. 1982, and off the top there, that was Courtney Murphy.
I know, how beautiful was that song?
It is a beautiful song. It is.
How that album was ever picked up internationally is beyond me.
Yeah. I was talking to Kieran about that. Like, they're still doing.
Lots of recording. They just released.
Yeah, they did actually. I want to have them on the show, but they still intermix that with some tribute music and that, just still to fund it, and they're so good.
No.
It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. But the thing is, and the quality of what they're getting out of the studio and the people they've invited to play. I mean, even a guy that Robbie, guitarist from the Pretenders, Robbie. Oh gosh, here we
Can't
go.
Help you.
Yeah, sorry,
I've heard
my age is showing.
Yeah.
But they got a guitarist that used to play with the Pretenders to actually play a solo on one of their songs.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, obviously it's done through digital technology these days. I mean, no one's sitting in the same room anymore.
Yeah.
But at least to be able to tap into people like that. Robbie McIntosh it was.
Yeah.
And he also played with Mercanti at one stage too. So we're talking about a pretty heavy duty player. And the solo that this guy plays on their song that's coming out in this new album is just mind boggling.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So really, we've got, such great talented people.
Yeah.
And there's more than obviously just the Murphys, but I have to say that the way the Murphys have gone about their business for a long time, really, it's an example to anybody out there that wants to be a professional musician.
Yeah.
They are complete in so many ways.
Awesome. Hey, quite a few texts coming through.
Yeah.
Slim. Got one here. It doesn't have a name, but I think it's Brett, if I remember rightly. Slim Jim knows his stuff and also a top bloke.
No, thanks, Brett.
How you going, Radman? I'm fantastic. AC/DC, Russell Morris, Baby Animals would be awesome if you can fit them in. I'll do my best. We definitely got Baby Animals.
Well, let me just finish that story I was telling you about when we started, because about for Brett's sake anyway, we were talking about Baby Animals.
Yeah.
So we did the show, and the Gurus were fantastic. But,
always are.
Out the back, I'd met Susie, I think, when she was in a band called Photoplay in Perth years ago. They used to play downstairs at the Broadway Fair Shopping Centre. It was the Broadway Tavern, and that became the Silver Slipper where the Phatts band started. So in the interplay of all these changeovers, so I met her just briefly, and I thought she was a really nice girl. I thought the band that she was in was fantastic at the time. And then next minute, many years later, you see the baby. I saw it with The Kind as well, which was Boyd Wilson and his sister Denise.
Okay.
Mark Lizotte was in that band from Diesel.
Yeah.
Yak Sherritt was playing drums. I mean, that was like an all-stars band. I just thought I've seen the kind. But after that, I didn't see Susie for a while. And next minute, I see Baby Animals manifest itself, and I was obviously blown out for her.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, almost 40 years later, so I'm at this concert, so I'm just walking back to our, you know, tent out the back behind this huge stage structure down in Fremantle, and we hadn't started our set yet, and Susie was coming the other way, and I thought to myself, she'll never remember me from 40 years ago. So as she gets close, she goes, Slim, and I couldn't believe it. So had a big hug and a chat, and I've got to tell you, like, she hasn't changed one bit. Right, it was just lovely to be even remembered on that level, which was lovely. But she hasn't changed a bit. But when I stood side of stage while she was on stage, the swagger and the voice, and Dave Leslie playing every guitar line you remember from a Baby Animal song, they are just awesome. They've got a couple of guys working with them now that are driving it hard. But Susie Swagger playing a Telecaster guitar is almost as hot as Chrissy Hine doing it with the Pretenders. You know, like she was born with that guitar in her hands. But the swagger and the voice was just exceptional, man. And exceptional songs, Darren.
That whole album. We'll get to that album. We'll be playing it in the second hour, playing 3 songs off it. I got a message from Reg, wanted Shout by Johnny O'Keefe. I'll get that, hopefully get that
King
on.
of Australian rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
Deservedly so. What a killer boy.
Original rocker.
Yeah.
Hugo, we got, Hey Radman, Under the Milky Way by The Church. I'll do my best for you, Hugo, get that on. We've got Lynn's from Vic Park. Hey, Jim, I worked with the Crosby brothers in the 70s.
Yes, you did.
Yeah?
I think I know Lynn's kids.
Do you know
yes,
okay. He's out of Vic Park.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Narrabeen is in Sydney Northern Beaches. That's what I'm getting confused with.
It's Narrabeen.
Yeah, he's saying Narrabeen, and you're saying Narrabeen.
Narrabeen.
Yeah, so that's where I'm getting confused.
Yeah. It's definitely is where I said it was.
Yeah. No, that's fine. No, I trust you. I trust you.
Highway.
Lynn's wanted some Rose Tattoo.
Oh, good call.
I'll do my best for you, Lynn's.
Met Angry.
Oh, you met Angry?
Oh, yeah.
I love Rose Tattoo.
Great guy he is.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Is he?
And short beyond belief. Can't believe how short he is.
Towered over him.
Saw him play at the Old Melbourne too. Awesome band.
Oh, okay.
Killer.
We got Mick from Wangara. G'day, guys.
Up my end of the woods.
Is that up? Yeah,
I'm in Kingsley. Yeah.
Okay. Blue Metal, Firebird, or Close to the Bone fit the Australian criteria. Well, they're a local band, so they're definitely Australian. That's from Mick and Damo in Wangara. No worries. I'll get them on. And
good to see you shouting out for the local boys, guys. Good. Well done.
Yeah, exactly. And what's it? Yes, so that's Brett. Yeah, that's all good. No worries, Brett. Good times and memories. Okay, now we were sort of getting close to where you were joining the Phatts band, or you not joining, you started.
Also, as I said, the recession sort of kicked in and there was no work for actors. And so
this was late 80s, early 90s?
86.
So that's when
the recession was hitting.
Yep, okay. No,
so I was still working as an actor, but I could sort of see none of the funding was going to be available for actors to keep working, which most of the theatre companies here were being funded by the state or federal governments at the time. And so it was looking pretty bleak. So at the time, but the rock and roll game here in Western Australia was going through the roof. I mean, there was full of beer barns, and there was bands like V Capri, Flying Fonzarellis, the Jets. Oh my gosh, there were so many. Flash Harry, there was Perfect Strangers, multitudes of bands.
Yeah.
And they're all playing in venues of the capacity of about 1,000 a night.
Yeah.
And they're working 3 or 4 nights a week, so they're obviously doing really well. So I thought to myself, well, if I wanted to keep performing, I had an interest in music from learning guitar as a kid, singing with the choir. I thought I'd just put everything together like I would, as I did taking on that theatre job through uni, obviously, like learning, taking my skills into that world. And I thought, let's try a band. And so I was in the middle of doing Godspell as a vocal director, and so the 2 musical directors and myself formed the first Phatts band out of the orchestra from Godspell.
Oh, okay.
Because they had to be fairly proficient players to play a musical, so we got those guys, and that sort of didn't totally be it was a starting point. Like I was the embryo. So we worked on the idea for about 6 months, and by June 1986 we had this 8-piece band available, and we put on a night up at the I think it was called the Chevron nightclub in North Perth on a Wednesday night.
Yep.
It became Alligators, and then it's now become, I think, the Doll's House.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But it certainly wasn't.
We were talking about that last week with when we had Andy Smith here, we were talking about alligators. We were talking about old nightclubs and that. A bit. I don't know. It feels like it was a bit before my day.
Yeah, Charles Street, North.
Yeah, I know where you are.
And so we put on a night there, and we invited every agent and manager in Perth in there, and no one showed up except for one guy called David Zampatti.
Right.
And I met David previously doing some theatre work with Dave Warner from the Suburbs.
Oh, yep.
And they had a theatrical company called Laguna Productions, and they used to put dinner theatre shows in. That's how I used to make my living as an actor.
Yep.
At places like the Burragoon Hotel.
Okay.
So David was part of that production team, so David took charge of us, and we launched in we opened up in June, but we ended up doing regular gigs from July at places like the Albion,
okay,
and then the Silver Slipper and Broadway Fair Shopping Centre downstairs in the lower level,
right,
and then the OBH eventuated, and that was just another level of unbelievabledom.
So tell us about the OBH, because I don't know why, but it feels like you're linked to the OBH back then, and you did a recording there.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So we started there in '86, as I said, and it went from zero to infinity. So the venue itself that we were playing in was licensed for 225 people.
Okay.
We had to have a door charge because the venue wasn't paying us really, except for a little bit of money.
Yep.
It's called a retainer.
Yep.
I'll tell you what it was. It was $300.
Okay.
And out of that,
how many?
Sorry?
How many in the band at that point?
That wasn't the point.
Okay.
It was 8.
Okay.
And there was a 4-man road crew. Full
right.
production. So there was a few mouths to feed.
Yeah.
So we had to have a door.
Yeah.
We were charging $5 in the door.
Okay.
But it was a $300 retainer. But part of that retainer had to pay half the fee of a security guy to stand at the door to make sure no one would pinch our till. So we actually had to pay the guy, I think it was at the time like $37.50 or something, which was half his wages because we were...
Oh, I see.
The venue made us responsible for half the doorman.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got paid $260 or whatever it was, and we took the door on. So we always knew, because we had the door, there was over 600 people there.
Oh, really?
Every single Saturday.
Yeah, right.
There was over, because I could tell.
And licensed for 220.
Licensed for 220. Now, it wouldn't happen these days, but seriously, but that's when it just created something that was just like next level. The energy, it was so packed in that room that these large-scale windows that run almost like a story and a half high surrounding the facade of the OBH used to rain on the inside through human condensation.
Oh, really? Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So it was quite hilarious.
Yeah.
And that the energy and the mayhem that used to get on. I mean, I used to stand on the front of the stage, and I was 18 stone at the time, and I'd drop backwards, and the audience would carry me from one end of the OBH facade to the other and bring me back.
No.
It was just the energy of the band on stage. It was just one of those, it was the right band at the right time at the right place.
Yeah.
And it became a phenomenon. So in 1988, we decided, wouldn't it be nice to just capture a moment of this? And we released an album called Slim Jim and the Phatts Live at the OBH.
Right.
And it was literally 10 or 12 songs from the live show that we recorded on stage.
Yeah.
And we actually had a truck working like an OB van parked on the pavement outside beside the actual building.
Yeah.
And so we just fed the loom down to the recording, and we recorded straight down onto beta tape, which was the other alternative to VHS, quarter-inch tape back in the day. So it was recorded down, so there is no edit.
Right.
As it was mixed, warts and all, is on record.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, but it captures a moment in 88 where an audience were almost as important as the band.
Yeah.
It was the best show combination I've ever worked on in my life. It was just unique to that venue.
Wow.
And there's been many other venues that we've played at where we really feel that we've hit our money.
Yeah.
It hit the pocket. But at that particular time, it was just on another transcendental level. It was just so much fun. It was, you just couldn't believe what you were seeing.
Yeah.
And no one got hurt, really. It was just all, people over-drinking and overdoing everything. But it was just a lot of fun.
Awesome.
It really was.
I was too young, unfortunately.
Oh, you missed... a lot of people
I feel like I missed out on a lot.
I've got to tell you, I haven't seen much like it since.
Yeah.
You get the occasional vignettes of moments, but it was just a different energy back in those days. And remember, there's no mobile phones in those days. So this all happened without social media support.
Yeah.
This all was all word of mouth. And for some odd reason, we became like the pin-up boys and girls, because that's the thing about the Phatts, always had boys and girls in the light-up, regarding the Stirling Highway Belt. So that was pretty much a pretty elite sort of area.
Yeah, yeah.
So literally from the Shenton Park and Steve's and Silver Slipper to the Brewery Ale House to Cagney's to Albion to the OBH. Obviously, the Swanbourne had just been knocked down, so the Swanbourne was already eradicated from that list. Yep. Shame, because I would love to have played the Swanbourne back in their day.
Yep.
But those venues were on that Stirling Highway Belt were just extraordinarily busy.
Yeah.
Like another world of like... And that was outside of those 1,000. We also were playing at things like the Floriat, Raffles, and some of those bigger rooms. Yeah. But the OBH was special. Too small for a really big crowd, but the amount of people that were there just made it memorable.
Yeah. Hey, I've got to play some sponsorships.
Yeah, do it.
But we're going to come back and talk about something probably a little bit later. We're going to skip forward in time. Basil's Footy Show.
Yeah,
have a chat to you about.
Yeah, what a classic. This is Basil's Footy Show.
On the show, Adrian Barrett, Carl Langdon, Scotty Waters, and Chris Mayweather.
They must have been great days.
Unbelievable. Yeah. It was just the most... It came out of the blue. Gary O'Keefe was a director-producer at Channel 7 at the time.
Yeah.
And he had a big focus on sport. And so the whole idea of this was to, find another panel show or an excuse for a panel show to fit into that sports regime that Seven's famous for here in Western Australia, especially when it comes to AFL. And, of course, the Seven Network had the AFL rights at the time. So Basil was becoming part of that new sports, but it was the main sports guy at Channel 7 at the time. Adrian was his deputy, basically doing the weekends. Maney was there doing weather, but obviously Maney was a legend. Scotty Waters, same deal, back from the, working with Sydney Swans and that type of thing. He was back here and playing with the Eagles, or had played with the Eagles and the Dockers. And then, Carl at the time. He was still the best I reckon, best commentator.
Yeah, footy commentator.
Oh, he's the best, mate. Seriously, he's so good at what he does. And we got a chance to work together when I went to work for the West Coast Eagles after the Basil's Footy Show. So Gary approached us and asked us, would we be interested in putting a live band to a panel show? And so I thought about it. I thought, well, do you mean like a Paul Schaefer to David Letterman type thing? He said, perfect. So if you said if you could do that, it'd be great. And he said, do you think we need a theme? Have you got an idea for a theme song? And I said, I'll write you one.
Okay.
So I wrote that instrumental. So, and with obviously the team of the Phatts at the time that were, because there's some great playing on that, especially some of the guitar playing. And that was live. So we recorded
live,
So that was live, but we did record it so they could actually use it in the structure of the show. Gotcha. So if there was an ad on a television, they'd use it as an underlay. We'd always have the opening and the closing. It was always fairly similar. And then, sometimes it was used for competitions behind competitions going on visual. And then I have some music underneath it. So it got a good airing. I think it made it all of about $112.50, I think, by the end of when it comes to...
It used to rate its pants off.
Oh, the show rated its pants off. Yeah, so what would happen is that most people would turn the television on, after 5 o'clock, waiting for the 7 News icon to probably attract their attention, and the news was on. But in lieu of the fact that from when we would open the show from 5 o'clock, we'd have about 150,000 by the time we get to the end of the first half hour of viewers, and then in the next half an hour it would peak to 350 to 400,000. So a lot of people it's massive. And of course, Gary, God love him, said one day, and he was doing it as a bit of a joke, he said, don't worry, boys, I'm going to make you a star. You know, and we all cracked up laughing. And it had not been done before, putting a band that was playing literally live, doing inserts like the David Letterman show does with, you know, the CBS Orchestra. And so we took our lessons off that, but we put our stamp on it as it was the music that we would play that would wake up an Australian audience. Yeah. All the anthems, all the sporting anthems. So we learnt the Dockers theme, we learnt the Eagles theme, we learnt Down Under, if an Olympian was a guest. And so we had all these inserts and stuff, and we just kept it interesting. So on an average show for an hour, there was nearly... on average, there's between 10 and 15 inserts, music inserts, live inserts. And that'd conclude Kevin Bloody Wilson as a special guest. Yeah. Or
I want to have him on this show, actually.
I'm
going to try and reach out to you. Yeah?
I've got to tell you one thing about Kevin Bloody Wilson. Yes, he is the greatest, one of the greatest music import, or music, well, it's music. It is music, comedy music, but it's music. Imports in Australian history. Yeah, okay. And people need to wake up to themselves as someone of that sort of genuine thing needs to be given a lot more plaudits that he does, because I think people are put off by the nature of what he does. He's so popular everywhere in the world. He tours England, New Zealand, Australia, Canada. He tours the US. Yeah. I mean, I don't know anybody that can actually do that using Australian derived comedy and make it work everywhere.
I would love to have him on.
He's a genius, and so are his children. His children are geniuses
Jenny,
as well. Travis.
I don't know what Jenny's real name is, but it's his name.
Tammy. Tomorrow,
Hey, we are so well behind time here.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's not your fault. I'm loving the chat. Yeah. We've got a lot more texts come through.
Yeah, go for them.
JFC. And that's John from Cloverdale. It was a glassy at the old Melbourne 87, 88. Saw all those bands you were talking about.
Yeah, they were awesome bands, weren't they?
And then we got, Mick, this is Mick Zappa fan, comes through as, "G'day Radman, great memories of Slim from back in the day. Any chance of some Kevin Bloody Wilson?" Oh, there we go.
Good call.
Not much to choose from. That's true. Well, Mick, this is G-Dog, I am going to try and get him on the show. I don't know if
He's
you can
amazing guy.
You can help me at all there, Slim. Do you know him? Yeah, okay.
I got his number.
You got his number. Okay, no, definitely in the next coming months. I'll try and get.
Honestly, he's an extraordinary man.
He's a local legend. Yeah,
absolutely.
Glenn, the Glenn Taylor. Cheers, Radman.
Okay, can I tell you one more story about Kevin?
Yeah.
My house burnt down, and the music room where my children had all their instruments was completely gutted and destroyed. So drum kit, piano, the whole bit. Yeah. And about a week later, I received a text message from Kevin to say that he'd put $2,000 down at Cosmic Sounds to replace my children's instruments.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I got to tell you that guy's heart is massive. Okay? He is a great guy, and he looks out for a lot of people in our industry. And there's also these stories about Frank Sinatra being a philanthropist that people wouldn't know about. He was always helping out musicians in his era that may have fallen on hard times. Yep. Kevin Bloody Wilson is a big chunk of our soul in our industry.
I'm so glad to hear that.
He's unbelievable.
And
his children are just unbelievable to work with and to know as people. They're extraordinary. And his wife.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, we're going to play another song for you. We're going to play the album, the Baby Animals, which we'll get to soon. But Katie Noonan, Black Hole Sun. Oh. Well, obviously, we know the song.
I'm not going to say anything. Just put it out there.
Just want me to play it.
And I want listeners out there to react to this. This is the most unbelievable. I'm a great fan of female vocalists. Katie Noonan is up there with the very best in the world, and whoever's playing guitar to accompany her on this deserves a pat in the back. Check this out. It's an unbelievable version.
My eyes, indisposed, in disguise as no one knows. The face and lies the snake, the sun in my disgrace. Boiling heat, summer stench, neath the black, the sky looks dead. Call my name through the cream and I'll hear you scream again. Black hole sun.
Oh, that was unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like incredible vocal performance. And the guitar playing is extraordinary.
the guitar, you can just hear it in the, she's out of Queensland, you said?
Yeah, George.
Yeah.
She was in a band called George with her brother.
Remember George. I was trying to think of some
hits
words.
and stuff. Great
Some
albums
songs.
too. But she's released a lot of stuff, and she's done some great versions of Beatles songs, which are extraordinary as well. But you wanted something Australian. I thought this was a bit of a bent thing because it's not really an Australian song, but
Australian artist,
big time.
Hey, I got a message here. What do we got? Painters and Dockers.
Oh,
you're going
new
home.
School.
You're going home in the back of a divvy van.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw them at uni.
I remember the band, but
they used to
I
be
don't remember
naked,
the song.
throwing themselves off stage.
Yeah, okay.
They were.
There's no name on that text.
1 minute you'd be on the dance floor, next minute this naked man's jumping on you from on stage.
Just what you want.
Exactly.
You know what I'm thinking?
Good for your ticket price.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking, Slim? We're so far behind, and I've got so many requests to play. I still want to play this Baby Animals.
Do it.
And I've also got to speak to Frank and I don't even know if I've mentioned that.
Chicken wings?
The chicken wings.
I like it.
There's a big competition today.
Mind you,
and
I'm hungry
and
now.
He's going to be checking in about 5:20, 5:30. So
no worries.
We'll have a bit of a chat to him.
Good.
About who won. It's massive up there, bigger than Woodstock, we're calling this thing. I'm sure the winners have already been announced, but we'll find out live on air who won the big chicken. I think they've also got a pickled onion contest as well. So
make your eyes water.
It's going to be huge.
Make your eyes flicker.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you measure a good pickled onion.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah. If your eye flickers, it's a good one.
It's time for Radman's Retro Classic.
Okay, what is it?
It's Baby Animals.
Oh, good.
It's the 91 debut album.
Yep.
Self-titled album.
Baby Animals.
Did you know, though, I just seen this morning, they were originally called Woody's Heroes.
No, I didn't know that.
That was their original name before they changed it to Baby Animals.
With songs like that, that would have been famous no matter what.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, no, I think I prefer Baby Animals.
Yeah, so do I.
I've got this theory that 1991 was the greatest year for music ever.
Okay.
I play an album.
You feel that was like a culmination of everything that just came together for that year and everything got really good?
I think I'm biased because I turned 17 that year, and you get the car and the stereo.
What else was bounced in 91? Van Halen would have been out then.
But that particular year, Metallica Black Album, which I love.
Yeah, well, that's
Nirvana,
massive, and they're coming in November.
Yes, I'm going there.
The Suicidal Tendencies and Evanescence.
Yes, so Nirvana with Nevermind.
Yeah.
Which is a great album. Red Hot Chili Peppers, a great album. You know what? I can't remember now. There is so many. This album,
are seriously big albums that changed the sound of music.
That year,
right.
And this is one of the albums that when I first got my stereo.
Yep.
Actually, the first song I ever heard off this, and I'm not sure where it was released, like in the scheme of things, but it was Painless. I remember Painless, and I remember I grew up in Manning, and I remember driving around. Off Manning Road onto the freeway.
Yeah, the dog leg.
Yeah, that's sort of just coming onto the Kwinana freeway heading into the city.
Yep.
I don't know, I was by myself, don't know where I was going, but I just remember that they had like a hole in the head, and this is good. And I went out and bought the album just based on that, hearing that song.
Anything that she sings, it just grabs your attention.
Isn't she? Yeah,
she's got that knack. You know?
And being a Perth girl, we're very proud of.
Oh, totally. You know. Yeah, incredible history.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to play 3 songs off now. I'm going to kick it off with a bit of Rush You.
Good.
Let's do it.
Great. Killer.
Baby Animals. Yeah, that snuck up on us.
That did a bit. How good are they?
Well,
how good are those songs?
And
Killers.
Like you say, the bass just thumps. And
it's just thumps. Yeah, plaudits to Frank Salenza on drums and Eddie Parisi on bass. I mean, still living in Perth and playing with Proud Mary all the time now. So that's their full-time gig.
I think I've got Frank and they're calling through. I have no idea how to do this.
Do it.
So I'll try and answer it. Hello, HFM. Hello, how do I put you on, Frank? We're on air now, son. Hang on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you, Frank.
I think we can hear each other. Do I hang the phone up or?
Just leave it like that.
Yeah, hang the phone up.
I'm going to do. I hope you don't hang up. Hang on. You still there, Frank?
I'm still here.
Oh,
well
look,
done.
Here we go. Here we have the Frankinator joining us from.
And alongside me is hen shooter, and meanwhile my alarm clock's going off. For the wings that should be ready.
Oh, so we haven't even judged these wings. So tell us what you're doing there. Hey, hello, hen shooter, by the way. Tell us what you're doing there, because a lot of people might not know why we're ringing you, Frank.
Well, things are running a little bit behind, but we've got a pickled onion and wing competition going on.
Great combination.
Yeah.
I'm standing next to the hen shooter. We're hovering over our little barbecue here, and beside me is Johnny Esich from Big Things Coming.
Oh, it's Johnny Esich there. Hey, are you listening to the Sunday Sesh?
Absolutely.
Okay, well,
Hey, Darren, how you doing?
Hey, Johnny. Hey, I'll play some Colour Mine next up for you, son. I'll drag it in.
Oh, thank you, dude.
Okay.
I hope all our listeners are hungry, because I'm about to smash this chicken wing comp.
Okay, mate. Okay. So,
And then we've got Sean Bennett, the Raging Bear.
Sean's there.
He's on the third barbecue kettle, and he's been running a little bit behind as well. He was the last one to get his wings into the kettle.
okay.
Hi, Darren. How are you? Hope you're well.
Hey, Sean.
Thanks for covering this. It's a great cause, and it's amazing to actually be ahead of people like Frank with their esteem in the barbecue world, and I'm looking forward to them looking up to me from this, because I feel the Raging Bear are pushing on the barbecue wing.
Well done.
Thanks,
we
Sean.
have no winner of the wing competition yet, as we're running behind.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll put it up on the website later.
We do have the winner of the pickled onion competition.
And
Right, Darren.
who is it?
And the hen shooter won the pickled onion competition.
Oh, wow. Congratulations to the hen shooter.
Picking pickled onions.
Well, were they meant to be pickled onions?
Amazing what we'll do for Cricket Australia, just to help them promote the game.
Well, congratulations, hen shooter. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Representing.
He's got his gold hat on, and he's got the coveted trophy from 2016, which has been run for very many a year, and a gold trophy to take back to your wonderful studios.
Oh, how many pickled onions were
guys
eaten?
up here? And you'll be here next year to do a live
Yeah,
show from the garden.
we'll do an outside broadcast. Slim was just asking, like, how many were eaten? Who judged this competition?
Who judged the competition?
Well, the pickled onion judges, we had to fly an international judge in from Switzerland.
Pickled onions,
on the
very
board
famous
of
up
the
there.
European pickled onion.
Yes.
It's highly esteemed, but we can't say the name because we couldn't afford to pay them what they get. They're out of contract. But the wings are covered by the highest esteem of Wanneroo.
Absolutely. The ridiculous thing about the pickled onion competition, it was won by an American style quick pickled onion.
Oh.
Okay.
Not a traditional English style pickled.
Trump told us he had to win.
But you know, Darren, do you want to know the secret way I won it?
How's that, hen shooter?
Well, you know how I've been away playing cricket last week?
Yes.
Well, what I did is I saved up one of my socks from one of the hot days there in Queensland where
Yes.
I batted 94 not out.
Nice.
And what I did is I just dangled that sock in the pickled onion mix for a day or
Beautiful.
two, and that's what won it.
Yeah, that brine was just soaked in beautifully.
I was.
It's all about the brain.
Well, mate, this is compelling radio.
And we're to kill the toe fungus anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that's right.
Thanks. No, that's awesome, hen shooter. We want to know who wins the chicken wing. So if it happens before 6 o'clock, ring back and we'll put you there.
Well, I tell you what, there's some funny stories going on. I mean, there's some people that are well behind,
Yep.
and that is the Raging Bear himself. He
Right.
seems to be basting his wing at the moment.
I think he's struggling to get his barbecue.
Johnny has struggled because he left some of his gear at home, and so he's gone from an indirect cook to a direct cook. He's been burning some of them.
But I've got to include, Frank, I just served up my winning piece.
Oh. Hey, well, boys and girls, give us a call back if you have a winner. Otherwise, hey, I was going to ask you: is anyone on the air tomorrow at 2 o'clock? Can I come in?
We can talk about that.
We'll talk about it later because I've got about 10 requests I need to play, and I've just well behind time, so I might come in a bit of time tomorrow and come on air and spin a few. We'll talk later.
No problem.
Okay, boys. Thanks for that. Hey,
Go to the wing off.
hey, tell Johnny we got a bit of Colour Mine coming up.
Colour Mine coming up.
That's the Church.
Awesome band.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love
Good pick.
Unguarded Moment, one of my favourite songs
Mine
ever.
too, but
yeah.
you know, for Australia Day, that's very apt.
Yeah, absolutely. Under the Milky Way. That
Good
one was
pick.
for Hugo.
Well done, Hugo. Good call.
And, Hugo's my guest next week.
Well done.
On this show, because Hugo does a show on Saturdays.
Oh, does he?
Here, called Hugo's Metal Meltdown.
Metal Meltdown.
Metal Meltdown. So next week, it's going to be a big metal meltdown. 2 hours worth on the Sunday Sesh. I get to feature an album I've sort of wanted to feature for a long time, but I haven't sort of found the right spot for it. And it's I think it's 88. And Justice for All Metallica album.
Metallica
Do you know
album,
that? I love that album.
Yeah, it's a great album.
Yeah, and the song off it is probably my favourite song ever.
One of their best.
Yeah. So anyway, Hugo will be on next week. So listen in. It should be.
You going in
should
November?
Be a fun time. Yes.
Good.
Yes. Yeah,
Well
we'll
done.
be there. Before that, we had JOK with Shout.
King of Rock and Roll.
The King of Rock and Roll, especially in this country, and that was for Reg. And top of that bracket, we had Wish It Was. That was for Johnny. He didn't request it, but he was there, so I played it for him.
Well done.
Johnny Esich from Colourmine.
Good song too.
Yeah,
Very good song.
it was a good song. It is a great song. They've got a new singer just announced. I should remember the name, and I don't. I think it was David. But anyway, check socials.
Sound.
Yeah,
Great sound.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can produce with their new singer. Hey, we were going to talk.
Yep.
Now you were quite large back in the day, and a lot of
I was
people
18 stone in 1986 when I was with the Phatts when it first... Well, it sort of grew, sort of expanded.
Yeah, I have asked you previously, I didn't just bring it up, but that you're happy to talk about this.
Yeah, of course.
And you've lost a lot of weight, and I said that you lost a lot of weight, and you said, well, that was from the cancer.
I had to get it down from 18, so I got it down to 15 and probably got to about 12. And then I was doing a show called Pirates of Penzance in March of 2020, and we're in the finished the first week of the show, and then all of a sudden COVID became apparent, and that was the end of the show. So the show got cut from that week onwards. I mean, I think it was the city of Florida, or Vincent, or city of Cambridge. I think it's Florida. It's got Vincent, I think, has got the ownership of it. Well, they decided that it was too unsafe to have people gathering en masse. So the show got cut down, and I had a huge maritime beard for the role of in Pirates of Penzance. I was playing the Major General. Yeah. And so I shaved the beard off because there was no reason to have it any longer. Yeah. And I found a lump under my jawbone. And the lump, there was no pain or any discomfort, and it had not impaired any of my ability to sing through the show. It was a pretty heavy sing. It was it's light opera, so it's a big sing, and it's a long show, and so I went and had a test because I had nothing else to do because there was no work to do as a musician. So I went and had a test, and unfortunately it came back as I had cancer cells, and I had cancer on my tonsil, my left tonsil.
Oh, really?
And it was leaking into my lymph node in my jaw. And so I was lucky enough to go back to my wife's oncologist, who had she had 4th-stage bowel cancer, and she's still surviving. And this guy is one of the best oncologists around, Andrew Dean, Dr. Andrew Dean. Okay. And he was good enough to get me into quick surgery to get the tonsil out, which took out the entire tumour. But obviously with the leakage, it had to be dealt with a combination of radiation and chemotherapy. Yeah. So I had 7 weeks of treatment, and I finished on the first week of September of 2020. Okay. I had to have a repair time after the surgery before I started treatment, otherwise it would have caused more issues. Yeah. And I was on stage with We Will Rock You at Crown Theatre by the end of October. Yeah, right. So fortunately, I was sharing that role with Matt Datinsky from Mix 94.5, who was kind enough to come and double down with me. So it gave me a chance to work, and he probably didn't want to do all the shows either because of his obligations on breakfast radio at the time. Yep. So we had a wonderful relationship sharing the role for that run. It gave me a chance to test to see if I had anything left in the tank. Yep. So it's knocked out my saliva glands in the left side of my mouth, and my right side works minimally. Okay. So I'm deficit in saliva. Right. I've got fibrosis, scarring in my neck from the radiation. There was 11 times more radiation on my left side than my right side, and just a bit of a stiff neck. But apart from that, because I couldn't eat for a period of time. I was living on protein shakes. I dropped 50 kilos.
50 kilos.
So I ended up going down to 68, and I think I've gained another like 10 back.
68 is not enough, is it?
Not for my. I think it's a body mass index issue. And I did feel weak.
Yeah.
But it was kind of interesting to go from a large man to a very thin man over a very short period of time.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Apart from a new wardrobe, it was just kind of interesting to sort of deal with the physiology change.
So 18 stone, I've no idea. That's like 120 kilos or something.
Oh, it's more than that.
It's more than that.
Oh, it was huge.
Yeah, right.
It was like taking Slim Jim almost like as a method actor and taking him to a physical extreme.
Right.
It was almost maybe, I don't know. It was just, what it was basically is that I would not eat before a show as a matter of a discipline, but I would eat after the show. But boy, did I eat a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then it just got out of control from there. But, I've always been a fan of food. I was always a largish person. But I got way too large, and it did have an impact on my ability to perform and be consistent. So that's why I lost the initial amount.
Yeah.
But realistically, Aaron, I've got to say to you that at my age now, being the weight that I am, it's perfect timing because I've got nothing to labour me going out to do my work.
Yeah.
I'm not carrying excess weight. I'm not putting more stress on my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So really, I'm giving them my opportunity to be able to be more consistent as a performer. So it's actually been a blessing.
A positive out of the negative.
Well, I'm 61 now, so anything you can help yourself with to be able to keep your energy levels and sustain your what you want to do on stage is a good thing.
Absolutely. We've got one more song to play for you,
great.
which is coming up next. There's a couple of text messages that I have neglected.
Go for it.
There's no name on this one, but they're desperate for painters and dockers.
Right.
You're going home in the back of a divvy van.
Don't know that one, but
I don't know it.
I would have heard it. I think
we don't have it on our system.
I saw at least 3 painters and dockers gigs at Weight back in the day.
Yeah, okay. We've got Nude School, which was their famous song.
Brilliant.
But we don't have anything else. So, look, I don't know if I'm going to be on air tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can come in at 2 o'clock and play a few, and I'll track that down. I'll track down your going home in the back.
Nude School's a good option.
It's a good option? Okay.
Yeah, it's a good fun option. It's great.
I'll do my best.
Great vibe on that song.
The Glentertainer, the OBH, my cousin and I had a doobie in the middle of the crowd one night, and Lyndon on drums and Steve on guitar went off. And you were like, what the heck? Oh. Great times. Thanks, Jamie.
It was great times. See, this is what the OBH is all about. You know what I mean?
Baby Animals and the Screaming Jets, Metro's Freo 1992 killer gig.
Wow, that's a great double, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Geez, you would have been stone cold deaf by the end of that one.
I seen the Screaming Jets in Broome in 96.
Oh, did you? At the Roebuck?
At the Roebuck, outside.
Yeah.
And
in
the beer garden. And Dave, what's his name? Dave
Leslie.
No, Dave.
Faulkner.
The lead singer. No, not Dave Faulkner. The lead singer, Screaming Jets.
Screaming Jets. Dave Gleeson.
Gleeson. That's right, Gleeson.
Sorry.
He come out and he must have been on. He must have drunk a lot, I think, and but he basically vomited all over the front of the crowd. Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, so he wasn't popular.
You sure it wasn't special effects? It was a real hill.
No, it looked like real hill because I was standing behind the people. I didn't get hit.
Was it carrots? Well, I haven't eaten carrots. I haven't eaten carrots for 5 years, but there was diced carrots in the stew. Yeah, right.
Yes, that's and what. Oh, Hugo's saying thank you. Hey, this next song. Now I've lost it. Where is it?
Yeah.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. Them Little Secrets.
Them Little Secrets.
By the singer's called Jacqueline.
Yeah, the song's called Jacqueline.
Oh, sorry.
Letitia,
other way around. Yes.
Letitia Boucher and Fiona Ray sent me the CD many years ago, and I worked with Letitia's sister Monique in a production of Guys and Dolls when I was at Weight, and I just saw her just the other week actually, and she's running all those. They're called Hidden Detours through Fringe, and Famous Sharon is the one that's the MC of your walking tour of Perth CBD. Anyway, so Monique gave me the CD. She goes, if you get a chance, have a listen to it. I think they're really good. And when I heard this song, Jacqueline, I thought it was breathtaking. And again, here's another unbelievable recording and a song written by 2 women that I just think is extraordinary. And again, I've got that sort of fascination with female vocals, and I'd be really curious to see what other people think of this, a bit like the Katie Noonan scenario, something different.
Let's give it a crank.
Yeah.
No worries. Hey, Slim.
Yeah, mate.
I think we've got Frank back on the phone to announce the big winner. What's going on down there, Frank?
G'day, Radman. Right beside me is Nicky and Wayne. Wayne's got the results. Nikki's got a trophy and Sean Bennett's underwear in her hand. We're going to put on somebody's head when we find out who's the winner. And we'll leave it up to Wayne now to give you the results of the wing-off.
Okay. We're waiting with bated breath. Got a bit of AC/DC playing. Back in work, ready for this.
All right, so first we'll go through the categories of what we've judged you all on. It is Wayne from Bravo Inferno, yep.
Wayne from Bravo Inferno. Did you hear that?
Hey, we got 3.5 minutes, by the way.
The categories we went by in the judging, presentation, texture, flavour, and texture. And or when I find them,
Shuffling through.
There it is. Hey, look, Frank. In fifth place. With 94 points, it's Footy.
Hey.
That's Chrissy from Ballbreaker.
Chrissy from Ballbreaker.
Okay. Oh, Chrissy.
Oh.
Well done, Chrissy. This is Chrissy Sandfish. She's been on the show.
Yeah.
An amazing performance, actually. Bringing out the wings that were Vegemite and beer inspired with
hundreds and thousands sprinkled on top. And
How Aussie's that?
Yeah, surprise entry.
Okay, let's keep going there, Francis. We got 2.5 minutes, son.
Okay, in fourth spot with 95 points.
Ooh.
It's Johnny from Cullamine.
Oh, Johnny.
Big things coming. In third spot with 101 points, Ryan.
Well done. Mega score.
Ryan's up to the dry wing, quite prominent flavour.
Was that Ryan Ebbs? Who was that?
The hen shooter.
Oh, Ryan Henshaw. Sorry. I never hear him called Ryan. Beautiful.
Looks like the police have sent the helicopters in there to pick up the wings.
Okay, who's second?
Okay, second spot, 103 points. It's Sean from Raging Bear. Quick Range in first place with 111 points. Frankinator.
The Frankinator.
That's me. With a chicken ticker inspired wing with a chicken ticker sword. Somebody should put Sean Bennett's underwear on my head.
Bringing sorry about that. Bringing it home to HFM. That's fabulous, boys.
Well done.
Well done.
Get underwear in the car and a $6 voucher.
Oh, look at that.
Still a voucher as well. I can't believe it.
Thanks, Frank. Hey, we got to love and leave you. We got Keith coming in. He needs to take over the studio.
Exactly.
I'll see you boys later.
Ciao. Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Free draw.
Hey, we got to finish it off.
That's great, mate. Thanks so much for the opportunity to come and say hello.
It was so much fun today.
It's great to be here with 107.3 HFM radio, mate.
I love
Beautiful.
it. Actually, I better get a photo with you before you leave.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last week. Hey, we've got Keith coming in. So I think he's definitely, he's here. So thanks for joining us today, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy Australia Day, everybody.
Yeah, Happy Australia Day. As I said, I might be on tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I'm going to see if I can come in because I've got a few requests here that I haven't played. I'll just play some Aussie music from 2 till 4. But I'll check that. I'll put something on my Facebook page. If you haven't liked my Facebook page, go there and give it a follow or whatever you do. The Sunday Sesh with Radman. No worries.